No, it's now it's lagging again.
Yeah, I just restarted the stream.
Okay. If the early infantry special forces opener gets countered by the artillery and by the fire support of Yukipaw, the momentum of the game will likely immediately shift for Yukipaw, whose heavier units and more consistent fundamentals when it comes to tanks and ATGMs and such will probably be able to hold out the light amounts of tanks and IFVs that the second UK gets.
Yeah. Yeah, we have Taurus coming around, BMP3s coming in onto the battlefield as well. It's the Phantom coming in here on the left side, flying above everything. Airmobile Scouts in really strong positions, but we have the BMP3s and the Torch and Tunguska coming up already from the rear, so this is going to be interesting. There's Redredka getting overwhelmed here. But they only have to fall back a bit to get behind the BMP3s, and then there is currently not much that can deal with the BMP3s. We have a couple of Milans, but they're pretty far back. The Lynx can't move any closer against the Tunguska and the Tor, so it will be tough to deal with those BMP3s here right now for this UK division.
Yeah, Yukipaw's infantry, Spetsnaz Vedkas, are suffering against the airmobile scouts, likely because the airmobile scouts have 4 machine guns, no AT weapons though, and they're 8-man squads, so very good survivability. Though nothing is defending them from the Nona, which is currently firing a automatically reloaded salvo of 6 into the airmobile scouts building, putting it in low cohesion and almost on 3 health. And as we're looking at the reinforcements, we're seeing another Tunguska and another Nona coming from Yukipaw, as well as more recon. So this recon-heavy fire supremacy battle group seems to be Yukipaw's thing right now. And on the other side of the map, Gnef actually buying the rarely seen 175mm heavy howitzer of the British and firing it at long range against the Conquerors, actually.
Yeah, early artillery play here from Gnef against the Conquerors. Let's see how that all will do. As the Conquerors under fire here. Getting killed off. Yeah, this time the stream also started on YouTube, so hey, it has some good things after all. Yeah, Restream seems to be doing really weirdly the last couple of days. Well, might have to consider going just back to just Twitch again though, because yeah, the performance. I'm sorry guys, but yeah, we should be back online now, fully, and for the rest of the series. Airmobiles coming in here with the Lynx rockets, so Gnef really keeps the pedal on the metal. Those rocket helicopters, the most annoying pieces of equipment. I absolutely despise everybody playing second UK at the moment, so in this game I'm absolutely cheering for Yukipaw, not gonna lie, because those Lynx rockets with the snaps, so annoying, so annoying. The SAS, so annoying. I just hate playing against this division at the moment, and yeah, we'll see if Yukipaw can deal with it with the 27th year BMP3s slowly rolling forward, but yeah, Gnef on a decent position here still, though not really getting any points out of it yet. In fact, actually it's Yuki with 250 points lead at the moment, and the Milan 2's not in the right spot yet.
Yeah, so after this endorsement of second UK by Protoss, we are still seeing the tactic of Yukipaw, the pre-planned tactic of having the self-propelled mortars destroy these 100-point infantry squads in the SAS, and the BMPs have enough armor so that they can survive hits and heal up behind them. BMP3s, of course, in addition to the 2,800-meter, 65% accuracy missile that fires faster than all the other missiles, there is also an autocannon and a 100mm high explosive cannon. So on any range, at any Basically, in any situation, you need to fire at long range, or any infantry. The BMP3s can do good damage, and if there's something like an IFV or a vehicle in midst there, BMPs will immediately take it out unless it's a heavy tank. So the keeping the BMPs up and healthy, using the 5 armor which they get, which is not enough to survive 2 hits, but is enough to survive 1 hit. When they get the single hit, you have the supply behind them, you revive them, and slowly creeping in with this infantry. The 27th is being played in kind of a platonic ideal here, really, with 3 Nonas up here in 6 minutes, and the SAS are just completely incapable. They can't. The SAS are powerful against everything except ground units at like 1,000 meters. Any kind of air unit or close range attack the SAS can deal with. Long range attacks they can't.
Yeah, we have Airmobile scouts also now starting to move around in the north, maybe sniffing out that Yuki might be just really, really weak up there. We only have a Rezhvetka and an Igla up there, so CV coming in there would be quite helpful. But right now, Gnef on a +1 here, trying to get a Challenger into the middle zone to get a +2 of that. The Lynx rockets coming around here again. Iglas though already getting a hit in, and the Tunguska and Tor coming into position, so I don't think these Lynx rockets will achieve anything. Yeah, first one going down, second one on its way to be killed in a second as well. There we go. And that is not the movement you should do here right now. Like, I feel like Gnef too focused on just fighting in the center here, too focused on trying to get the playthrough that they planned for, instead of forcing the issue elsewhere, because they are the more mobile division here early on, especially with those helis, but they also took so much ground early on that they just have more room to maneuver, and they should have pushed that issue earlier. We now have some Terrier Pioneers coming up north, and Lynx Hellam just scanning to realize there's just absolutely nothing there. So yeah, Gnef needs to get there up north, and needs to get there quickly. The Challenger in the middle is in, but already damaged, and the artillery is flying here. The BMP3s, we have 4 of them now pushing in. We have a T-80BV already. Su-17 coming in with the kill on the Challenger, and this is not going the way of Gnef here yet at all.
Yeah, the even if Gnef is getting some movement happening in the northeast, with 4 infantry squads, including 3 Terriers Pioneer, actually going out there and trying to clean up this spot before the kind of very heavily centered Yukipaw force can start like taking parts of itself and moving them up north, which would be a problem in itself considering the movement routes here. And I think Gnef will likely be able to take the northern spot and start buying something to hold it. But that is not a solution for Yukipaw's force. Yukipaw can just go southwest and go northwest even, and even whoever holds the northern point is not relevant to what is going to stop Yukipaw's massively powerful and organized and well-controlled force that now also has a bunch of T-80s, at least one of them.
Yeah, Rovers trying to get in onto the BMP3. Really unfortunate for Gnef there with the accuracy. Both the Rover Milan and the Milan 1 missing, but on the other side, at least the BMPs for now missing as well, though their next missile will come in quicker, and this time the Rover doesn't stand a chance. Milan 1 keeps on missing here. The Hellarm trying to come in forward. AA this time might not quite be in range, but we have a 105mm next to the 175mm artillery piece now on Gnef's side as well, against the triple Nonna on the other side that has laid eyes on the Milan 1 by now. The northern capture here is decent for Gnef. It's a +2 with that, and the Airmobile leaders already aiming to get even more points here, aiming to go to Alpha, but I believe Yuki already has spotted that as a good amount of units start to move, and the Medis actually already gets the kill here. That is pretty bad for it. Like, this is really bad for Gnef, who kind of wants to push the issue here with the points and then maybe fall back to a more defensive playstyle afterwards, but they are just barely going to get ahead here in a couple of seconds in points of this +2. At +6 would be really big here right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking here about. I mean, the challengers are coming on vet 1, which means that you only get 4 of them, I believe, plus the 2 command vehicles, one of which is dead already. The rover Milans are absolutely decent enough to break anything that Yukipo has, but they don't have the survivability to actually hold a front. So as long as Yukipo's force is fighting as a strong front, something needs to be put up there. It's like in real life, people were shocked about the Ukrainian war when they started having trench warfare, not understanding that when a force has massive infantry charges supported by massive artillery, trench warfare will happen naturally. You cannot counter that kind of warfare with mechanized warfare. And in this way, as long as Yukipo holds this strong battle group in the middle, supported by heavy recon, good ATGMs in the middle, AA and Nona SVKs, this means that any amount of mobility that is played against it will not challenge the existence of the battle group.
Yeah, Conqueror's M's here getting the kill. BRDM Conqueror's M is a unit that we see more and more lately with 27, since they got the good stealth, and the Conqueror's M missile on it is a fantastic tool to take care of any kind of unit, including challengers. And yeah, those Nona artillery pieces just devastating time and again, really active, constantly firing, constantly being resupplied. Great usage there by Yuki. And in the north, we now see a good amount of forces here for Gnef, but none of them are mobile. A couple of Milan 2s, a couple of Terriers, but they can't push into Alpha on their own. And that is really the issue here now for Gnef. The early game really going well for Yukipaw, and this game number 2 is starting to look somewhat tedious for Gnef to get around. Artillery might be the way back in. Airplane might be another one, though it's not that easy because you always have to be careful of the high accuracy of the Tunguska and especially the Tor. So you can only bomb outside of that range, and that is possible on airport, but still not easy to pull off.
Yeah, so Yukipo is moving into the southwest point of Foxtrot here, putting up two infantry squads into the reinforcement route buildings, 3, 4, 5 infantry squads moving into the regular buildings. The point of this infantry is mostly to make contact with whatever is there, and then have the BMP3s do the shooting, and that is why the SAS and Milan are running right now, knowing that anytime the Pulemachiki get them in their sights, that means that the P-80 BMP3s are right behind them. And helicopters are good in many situations. I personally, as a fan of playing Second UK, the Lynx rockets can be amazingly overpowered. You can go into ranked, you can buy a supply chopper and four of these, micro them, and just remove every single enemy unit in the first 5 minutes. But that is not something that can be played against when all of your opponent's troops, in the core of them are these Tors and Tunguskas, and right behind the even Yukipo even has air superiority. And the air superiority is, I believe, is because a bunch of the fighters got killed by the AA. Or am I wrong about this? Nevertheless, this is not a situation where the weak air tap 27th generally is. Sending out these phantoms, even the Phantom F3s are really strong planes, sending them out one by one to be hunted by the less numerous planes of the Soviets. Just bad idea. Just really desperate, trying to find something that works here when nothing doesn't.
Yeah, MiG-29's getting killed, but the Phantom goes down as well. And the artillery pieces here coming around. The south gets captured here now by the BTR-80. So it's not looking too great here for Nef's point advantage. He still has 200 points though. And he still has an artillery tab that is in decent action. And getting some trades at least against the airplanes of Yukipaw is okay. Like MiG-29 actually more expensive than the Phantom, so that is an okay trade to take, but needs to get in somewhere. What Yukipaw is doing is that he has a really high unit concentration and moves it as a big column, but that might be a weakness as well, because that means that the other parts of the map might be left with little forces to defend, and especially if he moves that south, that means he is further and further away with his concentration from the north, so a push there, especially potentially with some air support, a couple of bombers to take out ATGM positions and so on, could be a strong play to try to get into alpha, to try to get even further ahead in the point lead, and then just go into the full-on defensive once the enemy gets back into alpha here. Let's see. Gnef seems to be more adamant about Echo. That might at least get a couple more points as well, as the CV is already in the zone now and starts to get a +1.
No.
Oh,
The
SU-17
AT
coming
gets
in
it.
there, stopping it from the full capture.
Yes, but my response to you would be that even if the blob tactics, this is not really a blob tactics. I mean, this is just a full-on battle group tactics. Even if the group moves down south and leaves some other parts open, the Yukipaw is still going to be trading up, and the problem here is not necessarily having the points or anything. The problem is, can we kill this? And so far, so there are 2 rover Milans right up the middle, bunch of air mobile scouts and 2 challengers with some decent artillery support behind it, and this is the best that the British can muster right now. Outside of the warrior Milans, this is really most of their heavy equipment on show here. And when it comes to engaging these T-80BV plus BMP3 formations with that, I just think it's just not good enough. The challengers are not the best tanks. They're pretty slow, so they're vulnerable to ATGMs, and they don't have the rate of fire that the T-80BVs have.
Yeah, we have a couple of Lynxes coming around, but the Igla zoning here is fantastic by Yukipaw, so the Lynxes once more not finding much success. Motostrelki getting dealt with, Saladin and Challenger sitting around. SU-17 though, once more coming in and once more finding a kill. AA situation on the side of Gnef, non-existent, so the SU-17 can just go around taking kills. No real money for fighters, but also, and yeah, only the SAS here with the Stingers, but they already are under fire and they don't have long range. But the SU-17, pretty long range missile, so it can get out before it gets fired upon by too much. And yeah, the southern situation here not looking great, and still no threatening towards A point. It seems like Gnef kind of wants to still keep on fighting and grinding for Echo, but that is just not going to happen as long as the artillery advantage is not more dominant. Like maybe even having to bring in a MLRS, but I don't believe he will have it in his deck when he has the 175mm. So it's gonna be really tough fighting over this in the center here.
Yeah, the Yukipaw is very smartly moving in quite slowly, couple of units at a time. Very methodical. I like it a lot. The Saperi RPO moving in first, followed up by BTR and a recon unit and a single BMP, which in turn is followed up by a bunch more BMPs and T-80. This means that there is a flexible force that can screen out any single unit with the ATGMs, but also a concentrated force that can move in pretty fast and start engaging whatever gets spotted. Here we see the infantry spotting the foxes can be taken out pretty easily by the single BMP3. So the BM and the rest of them are coming right behind them to exploit the kills that are going to be gotten here.
Yeah, Fox is smoking off in the south as the Motostrelki is trying to get in there. And if that falls without Gnef taking any other zones back, it will start to be a +2 tick again here for Yukipaw, and Yukipaw is coming for that zone real hard now. Phantom in the sky versus MiG-29 starts losing here. In the center, we see another airmobile leader getting into the zone. Question is, can that be defended? And yeah, like maybe a big random push in the middle with a couple of units that you try to hide behind could be an option here. Just trying to break through to the enemy AA, to the enemy artillery. If you get rid of the support equipment on 27th side, then you could air spam them, then you could maybe grind them down with artillery, but Uh, it's not really possible to do that anymore now, as more and more BMP3s come in and TADBs are here as well, and the units in the south will be able to turn around in a second as well. So this position starts to become more and more critical here for Gnef, as the trades just haven't materialized at all.
Yeah, the trades are really the problem. There was a tank engagement with the T80BVK and Challenger, which, even though it went pretty equally, was very obvious to the Challenger that the longer the engagement went on, the more reinforcement there were going to be for Yukipaw's tank. So Gnef disengaged, and now is just letting Yukipaw march forward because there's not really anything that they can do from that position.
Yeah, TDBVK continues rolling on. Milan 1 goes down. That's a nice kill. We see in the south javelins and airmobile dying. The kill list is just blue units here right now. And yeah, we are at the 20-minute mark. One more full capture here for Gnef, it seems, as the TADBVK just barely out of the zone right now. It starts to move in back now. Yeah, the +1 continues, but the number of blue units on the battlefield is really, really low. Oh, we see the MLRS now. Okay, okay. I would have liked to see that earlier. Like, if you already realize that you are into a grind match, bring that in earlier so that you really can use the grind. Let's see what it can do. Tries to snipe enemy CV here. Obviously, always a win condition. Just killing off all enemy CVs whilst being in the point lead, and then the enemy can't come back. But there's a lot of CVs most likely still to kill here, and we have 3 already on the map for the red side here, so that is not going to be easy. And 500 points advantage on airport is not that massive, so it's gonna be really tough for Gnef to defend this here now.
Yeah, Gnef's anti-tank reinforcements are the TOW 1 Lynxes. Hell Arms are coming in, and once again getting popped by an Eagla. The Eagla screening just making all of the helicopter investment so irrelevant, because you have to be so careful about them. And the map control here that's been taken by Yukipaw. I would like to point out that when Yukipaw pushed with the mechanized forces down south, yeah, so this is again, when Yukipaw pushed the mechanized forces down south, that was right at the moment that equivalent mechanized reinforcements were coming to the middle. So Yukipaw very smartly never let there be an opening. Even if Gnef had immediately had troops to counter this and start pushing the middle to support the troops down south, the reinforcements could have taken it out. So Yukipaw not taking any risks, playing a platonic ideal of 27th. I recommend everybody to start trying out the opener Nona. That seems to be very powerful, especially on these maps that and against these divisions that heavily rely on taking early buildings.
Yeah, the Milan 1s and 2s just getting absolutely devastated there by the Nona. GGVP here for Yukipaw. It's one of the most insane KDs that we have ever seen in a Division 1 game. Though it, like, yeah, Gnef felt like he was a bit stuck in the strategy, but it also just felt like he was pulled apart there completely. Even when he tried to do the right moves, when he tried to do the right things, Yuki was always ready and just completely dismantled the second UK here. Really, really strong play with the 27th. The Nonas coming around quite strong. The MP3s super oppressive here on the open field, and yeah, just no room here for Gnef to really maneuver. Getting a victory here for Yukipaw once again, and that is Yukipaw on match ball, so Gnef really will have to step it up here now to get the series back under control. Wouldn't be the first time we see a reverse sweep, but in a best of 5, that is even harder to do, as yeah, that's 3 games in a row that the opponent will be on match ball against you, and Gnef will really have a hard time here now. So looking forward to it, though I don't believe this game here is really representative of what Gnef is capable of, so I'm still pretty excited for the rest of the series here.
Yeah, this really has to be the midpoint in the Gnef anime when they realize that the way the flashy plays that they've been doing so far are just not winning it, and they have to go and learn a new technique and show it out to the opposition who are calling them a one-trick pony. And with that, we are moving into the slowest map in the game, arguably Black Forest Duel, and in Game 3 of Yukipaw vs Gnef at Division 1 of the WARNO League. Did I do it correctly, Protos?
Yeah, so yeah, quick break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with that one. So here we go again. Game number 3. Yukipaw up 2-0 on match ball. And you said Gnef needs to learn new stuff, but he's just saying like, no, go back to the fundamentals and let's go back to the OG. Let's really level up one more level. Go from black hair to really yellow hair and go Super Saiyan maybe, as we have 11th parachutist once more. Whilst on Yukipaw's side, we bring around once more. No, not once more. For the first time. And I think for the first time in League, maybe even the 101st Airborne. So this is really hot and interesting fight here.
Yeah, Gnef is refusing both the hero's journey and all of the Shintoist and Taoist teachings and wisdoms that are supposedly in anime isekai. But so far, so what do you so the Black Hawk is 60 points. It's 60 points for a transporter, 3 times more than a regular truck. And but the Black Hawk has weapons, pretty good health, and 10 ECM, and it's one of the faster helicopters. Do you actually think that competitively this makes sense to have a majority of units, including the Aero Scouts, of course, because they get the forward deployment helicopter? But how much do you think? What percentage of your infantry should be bought out with the helicopters, considering the amount of points it takes, and the fact that even a good helicopter, if it gets caught out by the VLR 20mm, it's just done.
Yeah, it is always a bit of a risky balance with 101st. I played them quite a lot lately. I really enjoy the division, though it obviously is always susceptible to enemy strong AA, and especially against 11th, I don't like it, because I also feel like your infantry on the ground is just strong enough to beat them. Like, you have fantastic shock arrow rifles that are cheaper than the one in 82nd, because you don't have to pay for forward deployment, and that is why I don't feel like you need too many helicopters at the beginning. Kyowa Warrior is a really interesting pick here against a division that doesn't have any heavy tanks. So Hellfire's here, maybe even being used to kill off the VLR-8, because it outranges them by a good amount. 2,800 meters versus 2,400 meters against helicopters here. So might actually be an anti-AA light helicopter, which might be wild, but it's going to be quite interesting to see if the Blackhawks actually get down to land, or if they're just going to be shut down out of the sky immediately by the Mistrals and the VLRAs here.
Yeah. On the other hand, we're seeing Gnef go back to the heavy amount of weapons teams, but this time instead of the 50 caliber, we're seeing the 7.62 AANFI 7.62 machine gun teams in large force here. The deployments are going very heavily into the middle. I think where we can expect the weapons team spam as well as the infantry spam to completely avoid almost Foxtrot, put a minimal force of Foxtrot, and just try to take the Bravo area and the Bravo tree line. The road that goes between Bravo and Foxtrot, there's a defensive tree line here with a bunch of buildings. If you have that and have a strong enough control of Bravo, with this map control, you can threaten the road between Bravo and Delta. This really seems to be the area in which that if you can end up holding this with infantry, or no, with ATGMs and recon or even a tank, this is a solid way to keep control of Bravo. But on the other hand, completely kind of putting a minimal force at Alpha does open it up to be rushed by say, a division with massive amounts of helicopter infantry that can do fast and easy counterattacks if they realize that you don't have any AA cover in certain area. On the other side, on the bottom side, Gnef is sending up VBL Milans and VBL Recons, cars with 50 caliber machine guns and Milans to the back line, most likely to try to get some free kills in the early game before Yuki realizes that they have been they've been backline mogged.
Yeah, the Blackhawk and for the north though, for Charlie, should really secure the capture there. We have a Phantom coming around as well. That might find the Gazelle Recon relatively easily here, but outside of that, not too much to take. So yeah, 55-point units there to kill. That is going down immediately. If you sometimes want to fly over the enemy deployment a bit with your fighter as well, just to make the enemy AA people units aim and stop for a second, so that they arrive later than the rest of the units. But that obviously is really risky, trying to edge the enemy AA pieces there. And yeah, we'll see Phantom not trying to do that here. The infantry in the Blackhawks is able to unload. I would expect the Blackhawks in the middle to be sold immediately, though the Kiowa Warrior here is the really interesting unit in my eyes. But it immediately gets hit here by the Mirage. The Phantom in a bad angle here. Yeah, can't just get on top of the Mirage at all. A slow reaction there from Yuki. Second Phantom comes around, and the Mirage should be able to get out of here, as it's a super fast plane, and the Phantoms actually might die here as they fly over the Mistral Forest, and the Mistral Forest is a really deadly forest. Okay, only one hit there. Mistral's trying to shoot once more here, getting a bit of damage on the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks actually staying around. That is an interesting choice here by Yukipaw.
I mean, on the other hand, when it comes to the early game, there's only 12 Mistral missiles on the board here. There's no supply or anything. So having just enough of these Blackhawks can be you can tank a bunch of the enemy missiles and make them ineffective. But there are no attack helicopters around here. No Cobras coming up to try to exploit the fact that there is one of these Mistrals is almost out of ammo.
Blackhawks here trying to deal with the power SAS. Phantom HE actually coming in here now as the next unit. Going for the 7.6 millimeters, the super cheap MGs here. 20-point units. The VBL Recon in the south though, going for a bit of a rampage, killing a sniper team there. And they will need a reaction here from Yukipaw. Yuki realizing the situation though, getting some tow cobras, and they should at least deal with a couple of them. Jaguar Rocket on the other side though, dealing with the units in the building, and there was a triple stack there for a second for Yuki, so has to be really careful. The Phantom AA once more in a bad spot here, not really able to help out.
The Jaguars, the VLR-80s.
Oh, and the Blackhawks and the VLR-80, yeah, finding the air rifle dragons here, trying to come around on the side. Phantom running out of missiles. Might get the Jaguar with its
640 rounds of ammo.
Oh, the Jaguar gets out alive, and the Blackhawks being pushed back on the ground. One of them going down, the other one has to land way further back, not able to threatening Alpha at all. Whilst the VBLs still annoying in the rear. Tokobra gets rid of one of them. VLRA 20mm though is there as well. Now opening up on the Tokobra, and the Tokobra disengaging just now, getting gunned down. The VLRAs are insanely strong for their price point. 50-point, 4 deployable unit. They strat helicopter units really well, and surprisingly even just as good as something like a Shilka, which is the thing that I feel like it should be changed. They maybe could be nerfed slightly, whilst Shilka and co should go up in damage output a good bit.
Yeah, so looking at Yukipaw's opener, Yukipaw sent the 2 aero rifle scouts, the 2 9-man infantry squads with the forward deployment helicopters, and they got some really good kills. They got right in there, they fought with shock, they were in buildings where their opponents were still on the ground. They got a bunch of the machine gun teams, which are 20 points, which is not nothing, considering that you can have 7.62 machine gun teams of 10 points if you're buying reserve reserve machine guns and who are not forward deployment. Nonetheless, I think the with enough support, with some amount of fire superiority behind them, attack helicopter or something, I think there was a chance for Yukipaw to win this with that opener. But after this, Yukipaw has lost the air supremacy completely, has taken a bunch of bad engagements trying to win back an attack on the western side of the point there, and lost some key units in close stacking to air attacks. And now Yuki has invested into an Eagle to get back this supremacy, and a Mistral immediately tags it, doesn't put it back, but makes it significantly less effective, considering it's now going to have to go back and repair next time, or risk getting shot down by a second Mistral shot.
Yeah, and Yuki doesn't have a single point on the map
And
right now.
The final Mistral, it was the last one of the 12 missiles. Oh, damn it, that's a bad luck for Yukipaw.
Yeah, Phantom coming around here, trying to get around once more, but it is a +7 on Black Forest here right now. Super fast tick rate. Phantoms trying to hunt the Pirate. Yeah, arrow rifle trying to stop the VBL, but a +7 4-minute timer here on Yukipaw. And yeah, arrow rifles now coming in trucks finally.
This is a tragedy of the maximum
the situation
scale.
is really in a troublesome one now. We have some Cobras, some tow Cobras coming around as well. And yeah, the tragedy of a maximum scale here really hitting Yukipaw right now. And it seems like we might have a series on hand. There is still a bit of room here, but needs to get into Delta quite quickly. Like, it's not like Gnef didn't lose anything in this. But yeah, losing the F-15 there is super painful. As losing air dominance as 101st always kind of sucks, and they don't have that many fighters to go around at the moment. They only have 4 fighters at maximum.
Yeah, the VBL Milan and and VBL Recon harassment force behind Delta Point is just excellent, considering when you are making these mistakes as Yukipaw, you are making those mistakes for one reason or another. You're seeing something, you're thinking about something, you're considering your points for a couple of seconds, and that is the moment when you accidentally have your 3 large infantry units stacked, and that is also the moment when the enemy has to jack your rocket up. And not having these VBL Milans here doesn't necessarily mean that Yukipaw is winning the game or whatever, but this just shows how Gnef excellently understands the kind of way and the rhythm of the 11E attack, and understands that on this map you have both on the eastern part you have the height difference and a bunch of roads, a large amount of roads actually, close to a lot of forests and a lot of vision blockers. This means that it's pretty possible to be very annoying if you have something like 95 kph recon cars.
So Yuki not out of this yet. The air dominance is back. The Phantom killing of an LGB, the P4 PC in the north now under attack. So this might still be a zone that he can hold on to, and reducing the take with that down to a +2, which gives him a good bit more time. Really good kill there on the CV. The VRLA 20mm might kill the CV of Yuki here in a second, but it potentially should be able to get the zone before that. Actually is the case. Oh, it's so close. Can I get the capture? The zone finally fully back. No! Oh! Just before it locked in. Just before it locked in, the +3 will stay. Mirage, next Mirage going down, but yeah, that CV not getting the lock-in on that zone, super painful. Oh, that is really unfortunate. That would have been a couple more minutes extra, and the KD here lately, super good for Yuki again. The air completely cleaned up, a lot of planes being shut down on Gnef's side, as Phantoms and F-15s are fantastic fighters. And yeah, the Jaguar here, next target. Phantom right behind it though, gets one hit in. Second Phantom finishes the job, and there's little AA there. The Mistral's finally being reloaded, but that's only 2 of them left. Everything else has died, so the helicopter at least can be used as a transport quite easily here again. If not as a tech platform, the depth there going down. We have a Cobra still around as well. Mirage 2000 versus Double Phantom. That's not a great situation for the Mirage 2000. And Gnef maybe hammering away the units a bit too quickly here now.
Yeah, the Mistral taking out and the Mistral's existing here and making it so that Yukipaw can't reinforce in the most efficient manner. The Yukipaw can't drop the troops into next to buildings, can't drop them next to forests even, but has to drop them a bit further back. Not not to risk the double hitting Mistral and losing the infantry unit altogether. This is all just a little bit more inefficiencies, a little bit more risk, a little bit more thinking that Yukipaw has to do, while the +3 is ticking very fast with only 4 minutes left in this game here. 4 minutes is not that many bombing runs, and also the bombing runs don't always hit. And meanwhile, as the 4 minutes happens, Gnef is going to keep on reinforcing with more troops. That you can't kill more troops with air than 11E can reinforce in the same time.
Yeah, the Cobras, though, are pretty powerful, and there's one more Mistral going to be killed here, most likely in the second fire team. It's at least going really low. Oh, it might get out there alive. No, I don't think the Mistral will get out. Fire Team Dragon on the hunt. Mistral in the north is still around. The Cobras and the Chinook aiming for it now. The Mistral in the south, even with stress, still being able to hit. Eagle coming in maybe a slight bit too late there. Cobra trying to kill the one in the north. Gets the stun. Should get the kill there. So yeah, no AA here right now, but the death of the first Cobra here means that the amount of Cobras also is quite limited. The Humvee on the move now into the zone though, and it should be able to get in. Oh, snipers! Yeah, the secret anti-helicopter unit. As with their trait, they do a lot of stun damage against Cobras and actually deal a decent amount of damage in general as well. So the sniper there bringing the Cobra pretty low. Cobra now trying to retaliate with its 20mm, but it is super stressed out, so its accuracy is pretty terrible. Can it do the job here? Humvee on the way in. Will reduce this to a +1. Green Beret leader might stop the take.
No, the Sagai take out the Humvee.
Oh no, it's still a +2. The Green Beret leader coming in the north. New CV needs to come onto the battlefield. 3-minute timer once more here. The Fire Team Dragon can't fire on that short range. It's too close to the Sagai. It needs to disengage a bit further. Cobra in need of repair.
Up north, the VLRA did a single burst with very good luck. They almost stunning down the Chinook if they had gotten a second one there maybe. Yeah, this is only 3 minutes left, and the continuing truckloads of French are pouring into the zone, and the Yukipaw just doesn't have the same efficiency here. Yukipaw has had to rely on the air, and the Mistrals have been doing amazing work against them. And when it comes to the sniper trait, some people might think that it's worthless to have like a single submachine gun or a single assault rifle in a sniper team. But remember that if the sniper trait is activated, if they stand still for 10 seconds, the damage output of the single assault rifle will be the same as 5 assault rifles, and the single sniper rifle will be the same as 5 sniper rifles. So if you get close enough, so that every shot with a helicopter, so that every shot is
another Mirage getting wasted here though. I think this game is far from over. If Yuki can stabilize the tick, there's not that many blue units left. Like if you zoom out a bit, sure there's a couple of things floating in, but there's not that much AA, and there's so many fighters on the other side that can just even strafe this down. There is currently nothing to stop the Cobra from bullying the Sagai. VLRA coming around, but the French infantry is weaker than the 101st infantry. It pays the extra price for forward deployment on every single unit. It's 5 points extra every single time, and it doesn't have the same amount of MGs. It doesn't have dragons, which are really good to zone out the VLRAs, zone out the fire support units. So yeah, the point tick is stopped, and I'm actually not convinced that this game here is any way close to over now, as I feel like Yuki has stabilized this pretty well.
Yeah, in the late game, in the late game, Yukipaw does scale better here, I believe, especially considering that they've been trading really well with air. But there is a 3 Mistral stack here right now, and anytime a plane gets close enough or a helicopter gets close enough, 3 Mistrals is enough to reliably take them out or at least drive them out here. And if Yukipaw manages to play this perfectly, if Yukipaw manages to keep on getting good engagements, keep on building up some kind of a coherent force with the M1 IP Abramses coming up right now, and that then I think this is the defensive formation of Gnef is not powerful enough, but any kind of an overextension, any kind of a just a streak of bad luck here can take this out because it's only 200 points.
Yes, but if Yuki can get a hold of Foxtrot, and there's not enough AA there to protect that against Chinox and Heavy Hogs, then I feel like the situation could shift. Green Beret leader is in the center. We have more CV coming in with an M1 IP. Can the bomber take out the leader on the other side? No, it can't. The +1 here is back. That's still a long way to victory, though. +1 is 40 points per minute. That's still 5 minutes time here for Yukipaw to try to turn this around. Just needs to be careful to not fly over all the reinforced Mistrals here. Yeah, the F-15 shouldn't stay around here.
No, he's going for another pass. It's been forgotten. No, the Mistrals don't get enough time to shoot it.
Yeah, one flying in, but missing. And yeah, we have infantry pushing in on the para commander here. 50 cal coming around on the side. And there's not that many ATGMs on the battlefield here on side of Gnef. Gnef trying to push north here now as well. Trying to get to a +2 with that. The Phantom gets the kill onto the CV in the middle. That will stop the take for now again, though Gnef will try to get that back up in the north again. We have Phantoms versus the LGB. The LGB actually gets through, gets to kill the M1 IP. That is so unfortunate. It gets killed off right after, but losing that head on, and oh no, F-15 getting shut down as well. Oh my goodness, this is the bad luck you were talking about. I still don't think it's quite over, but it is really, really painful now. The Dragon not being able to kill the leader in the north. Oh, this is painful.
For what up north, for whatever reason, these trucks were able to drive right onto the zone and unload without the air fire team firing the Dragons at them, or maybe they did and just missed. And now the Legionnaires and they are in there. No reinforcements are going up north, and reinforcements could go. Well, actually, no. Gnef doesn't really have anything going up there as well. But the points are just enough on their own. The second Abrams is right behind there, but right now not a lot of air defense here from Yukipaw, actually, having relied on these Phantoms and these Eagles, which have now been taken away from us, unfortunately.
Yeah, the Puma Pirate now bullying units on the ground. Chinook can't really get close there because there is all the Mistrals, and that is a problem. Apache ATAS might be able to take it out, though. Green Beret leader revealing itself now. LGB bomber might come in right for that. Heavy Hawk in the north, not able to take the para command out. The Green Beret leader should have gone for the infight there. It's the way stronger leader unit. But Jaguar cluster coming around, actually clustering the building. It doesn't deal a lot of damage, but for those low hit point unit, it was enough. And the VBL Recon might be able to stun down the Heavy Hawk here before it can kill the leader. Green Beret leader should have gone for the infight there for real. It's only 100 points now. M1 IP is on the battlefield. There's not much there to stop it, but cluster bombers still coming around, getting the kill onto the Heavy Hawk. The para commander there still staying alive, and that +1 is now only 2.5 minutes away from victory. Whilst in the south, we only have the 2 CV units on the battlefield right now. Green Beret leader now moving around, but the VBL Recon can be used to keep that off the para commander. And that is a big troublesome situation now for Yuki. Trying to get infantry close there, but it's only 2 minutes.
Gnef doesn't have a single... the only unit here that has any AT weapons in the middle is the Sagai PC, the command unit. If the Abrams just drives through there, the Abrams can get some kills, but the Abrams is spotted, and a cluster plane is coming after it, though the cluster plane losing sight right at that final moment. But yeah, this is... the Gnef is really just down to his last here, and... as long as this current moment can be kept up for a couple of
Oh,
seconds.
cluster coming
Cluster
in. Gets
Cluster
the kill.
taking out the IP Abrams
And the
leader.
Green Beret leader shouldn't go in
Oh.
there on its own. And we see a GG here being called by Yukipaw. Yeah, both sides completely devastated on the end on the ground. But Gnef with a slight bit more A remaining. And that air does get the first point here on the board for Gnef with that cluster kill. And Yuki realizing that this +1 in the north is not stoppable thanks to the VBL recon protecting the CV. Tapping out of this game. Really strong comeback here from Gnef in game 3. And yeah, what a wild back and forth. The Phantoms did a great job there, as Gnef smelled blood a bit too early maybe, and then sent in a bit too many planes at once, with 2 Phantoms there cleaning the house. But it wasn't quite enough here for Yuki to come back after that super strong start for Gnef.
Yeah, there's something I checked from the kill feed, which is that Gnef did have the Para SAS in the middle as a part of the opener, and I think the Para SAS having satchel charges kind of negates the forward deploying helicopter advantage of the Aero Scouts, and I do think that when you're doing these Aero Scouts openers, which seem to be very powerful, I mean, having 2 large helicopter transported forward deploying shock troops with AT weapons, with recon, very powerful. But if the opponent has forward deploying special forces satchel charge units, the satchel charge units will be there and they will be up the front doing the extra damage, doing the stun damage, making your troops combat ineffective. And so probably not the best idea to try to do these heli drop openers against 11E.
Yeah, especially not in those numbers. As I said, like your infantry in 101st, I believe, is the better infantry when it comes to just fighting infantry on infantry fights. But you need to get them in there. And yeah, maybe having Green Berets a bit earlier out, although they come in a helicopter, could have helped out there a bit as well, as they are really insane special forces. But you need to land them at a safe spot in this matchup. And yeah, Yuki losing a bit too much early on there, and then the Mistral Forest in the end killing a lot of stuff once more. So GGVP here to Gnef, playing his 11th absolutely perfectly in most parts of the game there, and getting the point on the board, keeping this game up. And let's see if Yukipaw can use the next match ball, or if Gnef keeps the series going into the final game number 5. Quick break, guys, and then we'll be back with game number 4 here. And here we go. Game number 3 on my most favorite 1v1 map lately, at least when it comes to spectating and commentating, as we are on Has a Duel. And yeah, really looking forward to hopefully get this map into the rank pool soon as well, as I absolutely enjoy it. And I enjoy what we have in front of us here with the divisions as well, as we have on the right side Yukipaw with the 56, the man division, and on the left side we have Gnef coming around with KDA. 2 really, really amazing divisions, and I can't wait to see what will go on here. And yeah, we will also give you another chance here to gamble your points away on Twitch, guys. So yeah, give me a second, and then that will be up as well.
Yeah. Meanwhile, let's going back to Gnef's hero's journey here. Despite having great victories in the last game, playing 11E, most likely, I think this is probably a very ban-heavy map when it comes to airborne, and I think the KDA likely not a first choice for anybody trying to play here, considering the fact that on the northern part of the map, having just a couple of heavy tanks can get you so far away. And controlling this, there is this railroad bridge here, and having heavy vehicles that can move up the hill, shoot, and then retreat are very useful here. And so despite this being an urban map, tanks are very useful, and if the tanks can survive a single hit from an ATGM, they're even more useful, because that means they can be used to push through points in stalemate situations. But KDA doesn't really get those, and neither does the 56th. They get the T62s, which are very slow and somewhat armored, but still very much second or third rate tanks. And this is why we are probably seeing a very heavy, very infantry heavy opener. We're seeing both the traditional weapons teams of the 50 cals and the fagots with KDA Schützen, Reservisten, and Zagradotriad, the Soviet blocking troops with the military police trait. And with a large amount of KDA Schützen up north to just kind of hold the line and keep the spotting up, likely for AT planes and fagots, and then a large deployment of large KDA infantry squads up right the northern part of the urban area, southwest of Echo. That is a standard position to defend when you are on KDA's side, and the other part would be the buildings, the halls, right side of November. And we're seeing some troops go out there, but really expecting the fight to be on the middle. Whereas on the eastern side, with 56th, very surprisingly a weak deployment to the urban areas, also very defensively, only sending some Okrana and AGS-17 automatic grenade launchers. The largest investment, an aggro investment for Yukipaw, is up north. That is only controlled by 2 older generation ATGMs and a bunch of militia recon men. So the KDA formation doesn't really have any mobility, so any kind of an attack that Yukipaw is going to do up north, that attack is probably going to be able to go up and be mostly countered by reinforcements, or maybe the single T-54 here can manage to maneuver. And now engagements in Spetsnaz GRU Stingers deploying with the Fagot M cars right behind them. KDA, sorry.
KDA here, getting some cheap recon out, getting a decent amount of ATGMs on both sides here. Cheap ATGMs spamming there. We have the first MiG-21 bomber run coming in as well. And yeah, it's match ball here for Yukipaw once more. Let's see if Gnef with KDA can stay alive. Also a matchup between 2 T-62 divisions, the only 2 T-62 divisions that we currently have in the game. So that might be interesting tank fights as well. Obviously slightly smothered by T-54s being in there as well, but they are old fun tanks as well, so they are allowed in here too.
Yeah, the T-54s, I believe, don't get kinetic penetrators. They only get heat rounds, which means that the closer they get to enemy targets, they don't do more damage. They do the same amount of damage at all ranges, which is bad.
Well, it at least means that they can always do damage, because heat also means that their minimum damage is not 0 but 1. But yeah, against T-62s that doesn't matter. And also, yeah, this is a really important match here. Both players already in the prize money, thanks to all of your support, guys. We are up to $376 on the match arena. But the difference between the third place and first place already more than $100 by now. So this means quite a bit here, and even second place and third place difference pretty big by now as well. So yeah, if you want to help out, check out Matcherino, guys. Every single contribution there is much appreciated. Thanks for all the support there. MiG-23s here, flying around, trying to get rid of the MiG-21s in the air. The Stingers not able to help out on the ground. They only have 3 rounds, and all of those already have been fired. And the northern engagement here, a really wild one, but so far pretty successful for Gnef, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, Yukipaw has the Nona, which means that this attack is going to build up here, and sending the Malyutka and T-54 up north here was the only choice, really, and the T-54 is still alive, so it can actually block reinforcement from moving in from the southern road. But up north there with the Spetsnaz GRU or with the BMP-2, BMP-2 does have Conquerors left, so it can defend itself. The Mi-8s will likely be able to chase this down because the Stingers ran out of ammo. So fighters from Yukipaw need to try to take air superiority of the northwestern air corridor. But the Nona 2 will move. The Nona will move back and will likely be able to bombard this 4 infantry squad push coming from Gnef, with the Zagra Dotriad supporting 3 KDA shoots and taking their reservist traits away, and also giving them the extra level of stress recovery.
Yeah, BTR 70D trying to help out, but there is a cheap ATGM with all of this as well. The T-54 also pushing really deep up north. It only has a mediocre gun when it comes to dealing AP damage, but as an HE damage output unit, it's pretty much on par with most other Soviet tanks out there. It has a heavy MG on top, it has an extra MG coaxial as well, and then it has 1mm that has not the best rate of fire, but it has a decent HE output, so it can be quite scary that way. T-62s on the other side though, now able to deal with it. And we have Gnef running in the north with a CV, but his push here not working out really. The Mi-8 coming in really nicely for Yukipaw. Planes trying to deal with that, not successful yet. T-62s surviving the MiG-21 bombardment as well, so that was not the most successful bombing run there either. And the Mi-8 MT here really absolute MVP there against the KDA Schützen.
Yeah, we are once again seeing why massed infantry charges shouldn't be done in real life and in the game either. In the game, you want to do massed infantry charges only if they're supported by weapons that can protect them against hard counters. One of these hard counters is the rocket helicopter. Second hard counter is probably the BMP-3, and the third hard counter here is the some kind of artillery, especially fast-firing, fast-aiming artillery such as the Nona.
Yeah, Osa trying to help out here, came in a bit too late though. The Mi-8 is already gone, and the Nona keeps the stress up, so that KDA push of Gnef's is stopped. It's not a super heavy investment though, and threatening with it is already forced a big reaction from Yukipaw, which might allow you to move in elsewhere, as we see more and more units moving around the north here for Gnef. T-62 M1 coming in as well, a good couple more KDA Schützen running through Echo towards the rear zone here as well. Meanwhile, Osa and 57mm not able to find a kill just yet. +2 situation for Gnef here at the moment, and the south seems to be rather secure as well. It's just a question of, did he overinvest in that push, and might there be a quick reaction from Yukipaw coming in now?
Yeah, I think quick reactions are kind of Yukipaw's division's thing, right? I mean, they get so many 108 kph units and large amounts of helicopters, and even the rocket armed BTRs are max speed on road. So the kind of trying to beat any situations as Gnef by spamming KDA Schützen is probably not the strongest tactic, considering there's rockets just straight up counter KDA Schützen.
MiG-21 coming around once more, getting a decent amount of kills. AA network so far not amazing for Yuki, but he has now 3 fighters, so at least one of them goes down. The Osa gets some damage against the MiG-23, but not able to kill it. MiG-21 still staying around on the battlefield. That should be called home soon. T-62 M1 on the side of Gnef now as well, against the MD on Yukipaw's side. The Malyutka ATGMs might actually take them out. Yeah, Malyutka super slow, but also super cheap. And yeah, they come around here having good stealth now as well, so they actually can hide and can fire from the tree lines pretty well against enemy tanks like the T-62s. In the open ground though, they are not at their best space.
Yeah, the Malyutkas really, for 55 points, you want to use, you're paying for the stealth rate you want to use. It's for 35 points, yeah, you can just send them to death. For 55, it starts being a bit too expensive. You want to start getting value out of those things.
T-62 pushing forward. One CV of Gnef has been killed trying to get back into the rear zone, but the bombardment here and the shots really doing well. T-62s went down. The T-62 of Gnef being used a good bit better than the ones of Yukipaw in those tank fights. And we have another KDA Schützen blob coming up, and currently there's none of the hard counters right on top of this. They lack the support of a military police unit this time though, and we see a BTR-80 coming around with a rocket pod, at least doing a good amount of stun damage, and that often is enough for KDA to stop them coming in further, but the fire support units rolling in from behind now. Let's see what the T-62 and the 57mm AAPs can do here now.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the, we're actually seeing also the NSV 50 cows have managed to engage Yukipaw's infantry down south and pushing them away, but because of due to being spotted by something. And I think if Yukipaw actually, no, if Gnef actually managed to start enveloping this point, starting attack this this southern suburban area here, or southern neighborhood, and could strike to the side of these AGS-17s and BTRs, I think that would be that would kind of make sure that this this battle went as efficiently as possible.
We have
taking the bellows on.
Yeah, we have a Malyutka really going on the rampage here now. Having to fight too many tanks now though, but at least gets to CV. It was hunting for the Nonna more actively than for the CV, but picking that off anyways is still a nice kill there. The Dejan Zaperi Reese there on the defense might get overwhelmed as well. We have little AA here for Yukipaw still. The fighter trying to take out the Mi-24P there. Osa's not able to get a hit onto the MiG-23. Kind of unfortunate there for Gnef. Has to evacuate the Mi-24P. Hope that the MiG-23 gets hit on the way to intercept. Yeah, Osa this time around gets the hit. Pushes the MiG-23 back, so the Hind will live, and the Hind is a fantastic investment here now for Gnef, as there's no ground-based AA at all. Finally, Igla's coming in, but currently nothing on the front line. Igla coming in BTR-70, try to chase to the front line there.
Yeah, so far looking at the reinforcements here, we're seeing Gnef put out veteran mod troops and BTR, so even more troops. This time the more specialized attack troops instead of sending the waves of KDA. I guess now that the enemy has run out of rockets, you want to bring out the valuable troops.
Yeah, it's also really interesting to see how Gnef is adamant of bombing the enemy T-62s. T-62s already have a low rate of fire, and if you bomb them, that rate of fire drops into nirvana, and it's basically non-existent anymore. Plus, your tanks also then have a way better chance of beating them in a fight, so... And it seems like Gnef wants to win the tank fights here. Like, that seems to be the focus of this whole thing. Modschützen and KDR Ace are expendable, and he's not super focused on winning those infantry fights, but taking out the higher weapons is important. Ooh, ATGM taking out the repairing Hind on the ground though. Gnef doing that a bit too close to the front line. T-62 killing an enemy helicopter with an ATGM. That's some squad level stuff right there.
Yeah, I think the knowing how dependent 56th is on or how much how efficient the light vehicle fire support in form of the BTRs and the or the Mad Max equipment, as you like to call it, taking out the tanks does mean that the lighter vehicles are not protected from this large amounts of cheap ATGMs that Gnef has running around here. The machine building up a bunch of fast BTRs with good machine guns to counter infantry spam is pretty logical. So taking out the units that are protecting the counter to the infantry spam is you know, you can get the I get the logic of Gnef here, and but I would like to see some AT planes instead of only the MiG-21s.
Osas trying to help out against the helicopters. The Modschützen once more getting slaughtered on the front line. T-62 of Gnef pushing up. We have a cluster SC-22. You asked for AT. AT is coming in. Ooh. And the T-62 MD there will go down. Iglas on the ground, not strong enough to kill that off. And yeah, the tank fights keep on going Gnef's way here, but the infantry fights, not so much. And it's still a close fight here. Gnef on a +3 though. Like all those fights, we can't forget, are taken on Yukipaw's turf. And that means Gnef has a constant tick here going up. And that is always nice to have here as a fight if you fight a enemy light division as well.
Yeah. So tell me, was it what was the maximum amount of KDA shoots that you can have in a deck? Is it 24?
I
Units.
believe it's 36. It's 3
36.
cards of the KDAs in KDA division. So,
Yeah, so just thinking about realistically, how long can Gnef keep this up? We haven't seen that many infantry cards. We're seeing Fagots, NSVs, Reservisten, and in the Reservisten you get so many of them. So I kind of think that Gnef can keep this up. I mean, it's we're talking. He wants to get at least 500 points more until if the game goes to defense. He probably wants to defend that 1,000-point advantage. But even now, losing these units and trading kind of badly, it seems to be working as long as the KDA printer can keep on going.
well, the trades are only the cheap units that he's losing. Like,
Yeah,
he's
that's what
getting
I'm
rid of
talking-
the
yeah.
expensive units on the other side, so getting rid of another plane here thanks to the OSA. Like, as long as the T-62s and co stay alive, and he kills off the T-62s of the other player, like, you can trade 3 KDA for every T-62 you kill. That's totally fine, and that is what he's playing at here, especially as you have that endless depth of infantry depth. MiG-21s, you don't want to lose like that though, but Cluster Bomber, oh, doesn't quite get the kill either. T-62 also goes down to the Moderate Red Gun. Yeah, now it becomes painful. Like, now the KDA shouldn't just rush in, but they're already out on the open field, so I'm not quite sure how much chance they have to get into cover here now. Trying to close the field on the south, but T-62MD is in position there already.
Yeah, in the middle of the point you have these buildings, and if you have units in any of these buildings, this will give you enough survivability and enough spotting capacity that you can either prevent or spot enemy leaders that are getting on the position. And that means that as long as you have enough, I mean, there's the BM-24 MLRS is coming for the KDA, but as long as you have the air bombing capacity or artillery capacity, just having some guys in those buildings is enough, because they can always be supported by the artillery. And that means that the enemy is not going to dare to send in troops unless they're willing to push through the whole zone, buying you even more time.
Yeah, T-62 M1's now rolling forward. KDA Schützen trying to push up as well. BMP-2D going down there. More T-62s coming up for Gnef. Gnef still up on a +3 as the KDAs once more kept Yukipaw from recapturing the zone completely. Yukipaw now with a decent amount of fire support units, like a lot of BTR-70s, which all have a heavy MG. Still the AGS here that have been around from the early game onward, which is an interesting choice. Like, most people currently don't like those grenade rocket launchers, but Gnef and Yuki in general play with a lot more support weapon than most people do at the moment, and those grenade rocket launchers are another one of those.
The BM-24 firing at the front line and taking out a couple of BTR-70s and immediately moving way closer to resupply.
Yeah, T-62s here now getting bullied by Yukipaw's T-62s, as the ones that Gnef brought around are the cheaper ones that don't have the ATGM, whilst Yuki went for the T-62MD with the ATGM, paying 20 points extra there, plus 5 points for the side armor. But that means that on these long engagements around the highway, his tanks can engage the enemy T-62s before they can fire back, and that is a pretty big advantage there right now.
Yeah, so it seems like Yukipaw's combined battle group is forming up here. The constant stream of KDA pushing the zone has been prevented, but the unit is still so far behind, and we can see defensive forces such as the 50 cal machine guns being bought, all ready for KDA, already preparing to start defending. The KDA Schutzen of Gnef were rerouted south, and they're now taking positions and will serve as blocking troops, trying to even further slow down the enemy whenever they're going to start coming.
Yeah, artillery here trying to come in for the T-62 MD. Malka, big artillery, one of the biggest guns in the game. It's 203 millimeter, and it is trying to get some damage here on the static defenses of Yukipaw. 56 has decent artillery as well, especially with the gruts that it gets, and with the free veterancy that it gets on those. But I feel like the Malka still has the advantage here, especially as you also have a lot of rocket launchers next to those as well. Like the artillery tab of KDA is most likely the strongest in the game at the moment, and we will see if Gnef can use that here to really push the advantage further by just taking off important units bit by bit here, and the +4 is a real big advantage here right now. I'm surprised.
We're multiple minutes into Gnef buying the defensive reinforcements, and the zone is still Yukipaw hasn't still pushed the zone. The Zagredotriad or Reservist, neither of them have AT weapons. The BTRs could just drive up there. This zone has been defended by ghost soldiers. I'm telling you.
Yeah, the Chaika coming in now to finally capture it, but we have the artillery here now going around, trying to aim up. Malka in the rear, the BM-24, not reloaded yet, which is a mistake here by Gnef, a really big one, as those BM-24s firing multiple times after this would be really helpful. MiG-23 flying really deep here for Gnef as well, that's a mistake, yeah, getting punished for it, as the Strala and the Iglas find a hit there. And the zone finally gets captured again, but the +2 is still real, and it is a more than 1,000 point lead, which will become relevant here relatively fast. Like, we are on the halfway point in this game, and 1,000 points are not that easily caught up to. So Yuki needs to set up some pressure here soon.
Yeah, and even getting the getting a nice little. I don't remember how many ASFs the 56 Desantosturmavaya get, but losing them like that, having the Osas here in the center reliably try to take out the enemy planes that are trying to chase chase the pretty large and efficient attack fleet of Gnef. Now with the MiG-27 AT plane, once again flying back, slow plane with pretty good agility and pretty good AT missiles flying out here and trying to take out mostly like BTRs and missing with the T62. But nonetheless, as long as a threat exists, that means that Yukipaw is going to wait a little bit further until their fighters are up. They're going to wait a little bit further until they have a bit more AA. And all of this time is time that Gnef can keep on buying more artillery, more troops. And frankly, Yukipaw's movement and around to capture the X-ray zone and the Lima zone have been really slow.
Yeah, we also see the Mi-24P being hunted up north. The MiG-27 came around with a strafing round there, nearly killing it off. We have the Baby Gruts now on the battlefield as well, but Baby Grat, great at taking out units in forests, great at taking out units in the open. With the only 12 rockets, they don't dismantle buildings though. So there you want to have the normal Gruts usually to destroy the buildings and then kill the infantry once the buildings are destroyed. With only 12 rockets, they don't deal that much damage to units in cover itself, in building cover. So the KDAs, they're all still alive. And the Baby Gruts have to reload again here. The 12 missile Gruts instead of the 40 ones that you usually see on these trucks. BM-24 on the other side, aiming up though, going for the Nonna. That is an interesting choice here, going for the counter battery. The +2 still continues on here. And yeah, the south completely silent. The push of Yukipaw seems to be falling into the north, but with only 16 minutes remaining, and we're closing in on 1,500 point difference, that push needs to come really soon now.
Yeah, the 16 minutes is not likely going to be the time of the game here, because the next engagements will decide whether or not Yukipaw has a chance here. And if the next engagements happen inefficiently, and they become grind fights where the Reservisten, there's a whole card of Reservisten at least, and we have seen barely any of them. Also, probably more Motoschützen and other units, and all of these are capable of doing very good grind fighting in these urban areas. And if Yukipaw doesn't hit the strongest part of the urban defense, the KDA will be able to hold that for very efficiently, I think. BM24 getting taken out by the Baby Grads in a very smart counter battery here.
Yeah, though it got the Nonna beforehand, so it is still a trade here. Artillery versus artillery, and the Malka and co still around. The next BM24 gets bought as well. We have a push in the south too. T-54s trying to help out infantry there. The ATGM launcher out of ATGMs now, so the T-54 can just keep on firing there. Lots more T-54s moving around on the battlefield as well. And yeah, as I said, you should really see them more as an IFV, as they're also IFV priced, than a tank. They can take out light vehicles, they can really help out with infantry support. They really struggle against enemy tanks, but that's not where you want to have your T-54 anyways in this matchup.
Yeah, the cluster plane got tagged, which is without dropping its bombs, which is a big hit, because it means that there's one less weapon to take out the T-62s if the T-62s want to start engaging with something.
Yeah, T-54, meanwhile in the south, pushing on top of infantry. The Modschützen here, the Maddies all under fire, getting stressed out. Okrana getting killed off in the south. And I think Yuki needs to get in for a push here up north now. And that won't be easy. There's just so many ATGMs here on the other side with a good amount of recon, so vehicles will have it tough. Infantry could just run through there, but obviously you don't know that, and you don't just want to run your infantry over those open fields up north.
Yeah, and the eternal fear of having there being one more MiG-21 who's just going to remove your unit immediately when they move out of cover. And it's when you're on this late, you really don't want to start sacrificing your units unless you can afford to do that. And especially you don't want to sacrifice your units when you're behind 1,500 points. And so I'm not faulting Yukipaw for being careful, but the 20 minutes that it was a moment ago has now gone down to 13 minutes, and every minute we have more reinforcement. Now more Reservisten with Reservisten Thuas, leader units coming down south to try to open up another engagement angle, another front to pull down both Yukipaw's attention and Yukipaw's forces. But though the back point in southeast is defended really well, so I doubt they're going to be able to get through there.
Yeah, the Mi-8 here coming in with 14 Dejanikis inside, but there is a 57 millimeter AA piece right there, and that shreds helicopters quite quickly, so those won't land. A nice kill there for Yukipaw, for Gnef against Yuki, even trying to push Yuki's rear zone here in Alpha, having some decent AA with the OSAs around here now as well. Artillery keeps on coming in as well. Baby Kratz not having much success as of late. And the ATGMs in the north trying to stop the push around. Strela 10Ms with a Chaika there coming in. We have only 11 minutes remaining, so the push needs to take up some speed here. But this might be possible with the push up north. We even see the 23mm ZSU, the AA piece that has no radar for air-to-air targeting anymore, but has a ground surveillance radar instead. So it has exceptional optics, and it can still deal with helicopters whilst also dealing decent damage against infantry on the ground as well.
Yeah, the northern push with the Chaika in the backline there. I think if Yukipaw has some air units to support this, and can take out the Osa, I think this is I think air superiority here is possible. But as long as the Osa is out there, and I don't really see anything spotting it outside of maybe the Ohana, and yeah, this is a difficult position. Both of them lack the strongest offensive units in the game, and both of them kind of have had to improvise one in the offense. But at least Gnef is immensely prepared for a defensive fight.
Yes, there is a lot of ATGMs. There's a lot of 50 cults. The ATGMs moving up north as well. T62s there in decent numbers now as well, outnumbering the T62s on the side of Yukipaw. And yeah, Yukipaw is really starting to run out of time, and we're getting closer and closer to the potential of a game number 5 in this series, as a Mi 8 MT with the 14 hit point Dushka going down as well, Dejaniki, and they are not cheap. That's 130 points there biting the dust, and that is two of them going down actually, so 260 points, a whole minute of income being lost there to the Osa. The Chaika from the south might actually make it into the rear zone, but that's not enough to really turn this game around. It's only a +1 zone on this map actually, so it won't be a massive take, and it will be easily retaken there.
Yeah, so the counterattack with the reservists in southeast failed completely because none of them were microed. None of the reservist units were microed into buildings, so they engaged outside of buildings and getting totally destroyed. They were all on queue orders, just out there to not really trying to actually get in there, just trying to get the attention.
Yes, Strella trying to deal with the air units there. SU-22 coming around again, getting the Mi 8.
The Chai guys in the back point.
Yeah. As the Malka is trying to evacuate, but CV already on the battlefield there with the SPW 40P2 to retake that. The Chaika now going for November, though this is only the beginning. More than this shenanigans is needed really to take this game around. Maybe can take some concentration away from Gnef here, maybe can allow Yuki to take some good engagements on the front line now. But
yeah, I did some math, and Yukipaw requires +4 starting from now to take one to win this, and so this needs to be able to hold +4 or to get a total victory to +6 or something like this. So 38 minutes of +1 is what I counted basically.
yeah, Mi 24P here, trying to go, getting some kills as well. KDA Schützen under fire. Nice kill there onto the enemy supply trucks. T62MD opening up against the ATGMs in the building as well. And meanwhile, up north, Medis stopping the T62 and the T54. There's another Chaika trying to be sneaky. Oh, but the T62M is on it with its ATGM. That sneak most likely not gonna be successful. Back to a +2 it is, as the Chaika in the south gets pushed out, the rear zone gets recaptured, and there needs to be some more play here from the side of Yukipaw. Maybe the T62 leader just driving through in the center, but you would still need something to take out the ATGMs on the other side. And so obviously anything lighter will just get shared by the 50 cults, and the SPW about to capture the south here in November. There we go, capture happening, artillery still being devastating, hitting the position of Yukipaw up north, and that will reduce the chances of a push through here as well. 7 minutes remaining, and it's down to a +1. Will even stop the take here again, and that means, yeah, as you said, +4 would have been enough a couple of seconds ago. Now you might even need more. +4, +6, +8 is kind of what Yuki needs now, and I don't really see that happening right now.
Yeah, this is there was never enough of a coherent push, and the sluggishness of taking back the two Lima and X-ray points were really the allowing the 1,500 point advantage to grow. That really was the point. The fact that Gnef basically pulled out of the point, leaving only 2 or 3 units in total out there, and without reinforcing them, without controlling them, and that Yukipaw didn't realize this and start trying to engage these left behind forces. That really was the problem. And Gnef realized that the time was up really early and started reinforcing the backlines really early, and the time that Yukipaw took to keep fighting the kind of air fights and trying to build up these formations would have probably given them the victory with a heavier division, but with 56, the units are just not enough to break through these defensive barriers of reservists and fagots and weak tanks and 50 caliber machine gun teams.
Yeah, another Chaika sneak trying to come around south. The north needs to be overwhelmed completely here, but even then, there might not be a CV around there anymore. And the SPW will spot the Chaika moving through in the south. It goes directly for the rear zone once more, but there is no AT here to deal with the T-62. There is still an SPW in there. More units moving around Bravo as well, so the Chaika most likely even goes down before it can capture the zone completely. And this is not a game that will go into Yukipaw's favor here, I believe. And more Pulamachiki coming in, so that means, though, the series will get even more exciting. That means we will get to the final game, most likely, and have a ultimate match ball here for both sides, making it an absolute insane series. As after the first 2 games, I didn't believe Gnef would be able to pull back, but they really leveled it up here one stage, and in this game here, just really dominated, kinda, by just having the game going their way, or like the way they wanted it to go all game. Like, it's not that like they took the best traits, but they always were in control of where the fights happened and how the fights happened.
Yeah, Gnef's the hero's journey is, I believe, currently might be the moment in the belly of the whale, and right before the now, if I remember my Joseph Campbell properly, right before the return. The return, I believe, here would be winning the semifinals and proving that they are not a one-trick pony, but a multifaceted top-level player who can actually counterplay in this kind of strange maps with these strange divisions. And so in the last map, I think if we're gonna see Gnef go with some kind of aggro again, I doubt it's gonna go his way, considering that the aggro has been kind of a dice roll here, and counterplaying aggro is possible if you're a good enough player like Yukipaw, but counterplaying whatever that was, some high-level KDA play with a lot of planned out lost infantry and planning to take ground with the cheapest units possible, the Fagots, the Malyutkas, and the KDA Aufklärer. That's way less difficult to get the bead on something like that. You don't have the experience necessarily.
Yeah, chat asking who is the old sage. This arc is going on for a long time by now. Like, Gnef's arc is not a new one. It's just the latest edition of it, and the old sage unfortunately died of old age a long time ago. Gnef. We'll see, though, how that all will happen in game number 5. Not always the classic hero journey prevailed, so Yuki here absolutely also having a lot of storyline going on there. I don't think it's a black and white game here at all. I do think it's 2 really likable players playing against each other with really likable playstyles as well, so it will be tough to decide whom to cheer for here in game number 5, and it will be an exciting one whatever happens, so I'm really excited there. Let's go into a quick break, guys, and let's be quickly back in there for game number 5 for the decider game here. Who makes it into the WARNO League Season 1 Grand Finals? Yukipaw and Gnef, one last game to decide the fate of this one.
On to Lake.
Go, everybody. The game that it all comes down to. And it's 2 seconds on both sides. 2nd UK versus 2nd Panzer Grenadier. And that is a really exciting matchup. As I will jump into the deeper meaning of all of this in a second. Before that, though, a quick shout out to Match Arena once more, guys. Big thanks to all of you for contributing, and once more showing what this is all about as well. Like, next to all the honor that people get by playing and winning here, they also get a decent amount of prize money here by now. As first place, $175 already. Second place, $87.75. So if the player who wins here has that at least safe. Third place and fourth place, $35 and $52. Thanks to all of your contributions here, making this a pretty decent prize pool for the leagues as well. Let's see if we can push it a bit further. We have a couple more stretch goals to go. The winner of Division 3 getting a bit of the prize money, for example, and then the $600 one being me, really suffering with Berliner Gruppierung in ranked once more, guys. If you want to see me in a paint stream again, consider pushing the prize pool here a bit further for these players as well, as they all deserve it. And yeah, let's have a talk about what this resembles here. This is the matchup that Yukipaw was once in before, but it was against a different player back then, and it was a different Yukipaw back then, as this was the final game of Yukipaw versus Pro Komi matchup-wise, and even the position on the map-wise. So Yuki was on the right back then, and Pro Komi was on the left with second UK, and Yuki lost a really, really close fought game back then. So the question is it Yuki's revenge arc here all along, and will he be able to strike back now, or is the Gnef story arc going through? What do you think about this, Chloride, so far?
I think Pro Komi, I remember the game, and this was the game when Pro Komi used the zero-vet challengers really strongly. Pro Komi likes to play this map specifically with a very kind of a fire support bent, where the infantry goes up front and the fire support and the tanks are kept on max range so that they get to trade as well as possible, and this is the way that and then the tanks behind them will basically do the long range fighting for the SAS, and this and the anti-tank fighting for the air mobile scouts. And I doubt Gnef is gonna go the same way. We're already seeing Gnef take out a special forces recon vehicle rush to Oscar, as well as a second similar with Saladins and Foxes to Zulu, with actually with both rocket helicopters without air mobiles, the Gazelle rocket helicopters moving up north. So we're seeing the so for the noobs, the second UK is a forward deployment infantry division that concentrates on helicopters, and second Panzer Grenadier is a forward deployment infantry division that concentrates on tanks and mechanized infantry, such as IFVs. So the advantage of using the helicopters generally is done to do fast deployment, but here we're seeing a more careful using the weaker TOW-1 missile hell arms, and most likely trying to get them into tactical positions. But what we're seeing from Yukipaw here seems to be pretty standard. Yukipaw is challenging the... No, it's not. There's a massive amount of infantry going up north. Yukipaw is straight up going to challenge Oscar, and with both 3 forward deployment units and then with large amounts of regular large infantry squads. The Gepard there is slower than the infantry, and that is going to be a big problem because the helicopters are going to meet the infantry before the Gepard can get there. But fortunately for Yukipaw, there's an F-16 helicopter killer, Belgian helicopter killer right behind them. When it comes to the southern side of Zulu and Lima, which is generally where the decisive battle gets fought, Yukipaw actually has invested only a small amounts of defensive units.
Ooh, SAS unloading quickly, trying to get a kill there, having to get back into a truck now. But clever use there against the F-16 by Gnef. Really good micro there right at the start of the game. And yeah, the southern part of the map relatively empty here for Yuki, but ATGMs can help out against the Saladins and the Foxes. Saladin also an interesting, relatively new unit in the game. Really low penetration gun, but it's a pretty cheap unit as well, so it can be quite a fitness contest. Yeah, and it is really fast. Can go with the Foxes. Gepard coming up against the Hellarm already in the south, doing a good job there. The Saxons and the Airmobile SAS there, all pushing forward in the north. Gazelles trying to kill the Milan, not able to do that on max range though. So the Saladins have to do the job now. Fallschirmjäger Aufklärer though have the Panzerfaust 3. That is a really deadly AT weapon. Getting the first one killed. Milan 2 there in the engagement as well. And that infantry setup for Yuki in the north looks quite potent.
Yeah, so far Yukipaw has managed to keep all their infantry stacked and in buildings. The threat of second UK is often the early Harrier bombers, the slow but very heavily armed bombing aircraft that can just delete buildings or infantry tabs out there, and it might be worth risking them to go against even a Gepard when in the opener, because in the late game the Harriers are just too slow to survive. And we haven't seen any of this kind of decisive weaponry coming from Gnef here. So the Jaegers and the Palamilans and the Pioneers have been allowed to get into a kind of perfect defensive positions here almost.
Yeah, we have a lot of reinforcements coming in though. We have a Tornado HE as well, which in this stacked situation with its big bomb drop pattern can deal a lot of damage. It gets 2 squads wiped out, gets out alive as well. And we have a lot of Terrier Pioneers here now coming up. So yeah, the frontline units are pretty exhausted by now, but the units of Yukipaw took a good amount of beating as well. And those Terrier Pioneers might be able to turn the table there.
Yeah, and down south we're seeing Yukipaw do very minimal reinforcements with a single Marder Milan, and but also no investments coming from Gnef to push it. A Merzetswaffe coming and targeting immediately. I think this is going to be a massive. This is massive.
This is the run that you want with the Mehrzweckwaffe. This is what this unit is supposed to do. A quadruple kill against the Terrier Pioneer. Killed an SAS in there as well, and all the units that Gnef wanted to use here to get the push through completely annihilated. Yeah, currently still the unique unit, the Mehrzweckwaffe, might have an eastern counterpart soon with the Rügener Gruppierung, but that was just insane. That Mehrzweckwaffe cleaning house there, wiping out all the Pioneers. Will be on a long reload, but that doesn't matter here. That has swung the balance of power here completely in favor of the player in blue.
Yeah, just that's the worst thing that can happen to you when you stack infantry into a town fight immediately after loading, before they've managed to get on board. This is the reason why in real life military tactics you don't, like, at least the way I was taught, you don't want to reload next to an engagement zone, because that gives you a risk, gives you the risk of getting targeted by enemy artillery. That is why in real military doctrine you would load them like a couple of kilometers back, and every squad would move into the town via their own route if possible. And that is the reason. In modern warfare, unit concentrations, when spotted by anything, can be targeted in minutes.
Yeah, M110 now coming out for Yukipaw as well. Yuki knowing that they have bought the time, they need to stabilize the front line, and now they can go for the long-term win conditions here. And yeah, the divisions are somewhat similar in setup. Both are all-rounders, but second UK has the slightly weaker artillery, has the slightly weaker tanks, and that is what Yuki now can tap into, that we have now that we have survived the early game and that both sides have stabilized here. Gnef with a slight point advantage, but that loss of the pressure in the north means that Gnef now has to get ready for dealing with those mid and late game scenarios that you kind of want to avoid as second UK.
Yeah, the second UK has enough armor that they can clutch and they can hold and they can push a zone, but they can't push any more than that. They can't fight a regular late game, and even though second Panzer Grenadier doesn't have the greatest tank tab, they have to rely a lot on older generation tanks, often upgraded to have maximum range. But the amount of Leopard 2s that they get is enough to actually hold kind of a main battle tank force that is supported by a lot of support infantry and a lot of infantry in general. And whereas second UK really has just concentrating on the top, concentrating on both the small amounts of challengers and the small amounts of SAS. All the rest is just fast deployed infantry and pretty decent support.
Yeah, Jaguar HE coming around here, getting rid of some units on the other side as well, at least, getting out alive. We have Gnef trying to find some weak spots, or at least getting some intel here in the south. Airmobile scouts pushing forward. Milan 1 trying to engage here. Leo, really quick reaction though. Tornado HE coming around again. And yeah, it did really well earlier. It just didn't do as well as its cousin on the other side of the battlefield. This one around this time though, not hitting at all. Really, yeah, showing the issue with high altitude bombers being a bit unreliable at the moment in this game. Wish they would be having a slightly bigger AoE with their bombs that then drops off maybe a bit in damage, but it's just way more reliable on the damage it does. Currently, they just feel way too random, and a couple of them just way too weak as well.
Yeah, so one of the most powerful units in the second Panzer Grenadier arsenal is being deployed by Yukipaw here. 2 Eyehawks coming in to pretty close. Yeah, actually pretty close close deployment here. Eyehawks are amazing. They have a bit better range than the Coups, and they have a better accuracy than the Coups. But unlike the Coups, and they're the same price as the Coups, I believe. But unlike the Coups, they are not self-propelled. So if they get targeted by artillery or bombers, they need to be microed in trucks to move around. And having those kinds of units, and as well as the artillery that is already on board, the heavy artillery from the West Germans, is going to contrast to the weaker 105mm artillery that is being brought out right now by Gnef.
And yeah, Airmobile scouts moving around in the south and trying to find more targets here. M110 and 155mm Feldhaubitze now being around. The 105mm artillery pieces on the side of Gnef. Really light artillery, trying to deal with some Milan 2s here. And yeah, the game has slowed down a bit. Gnef investing into reinforcements in the north. Might want to try to get a counter push back into Oscar there. We'll see how that goes, and we see the MLRS way earlier than the last time we saw this division in game number 2, and that is going to be interesting. That has good potential of both being used efficiently against enemy artillery pieces as counter battery. Yeah, that's exactly what it tries to do here, though actually aiming for the wrong unit here, the 155mm artillery instead of the M110, but might still be good enough to get the kill there as well. And it can also devastate Leopard or Gepard lines, so helping you out in that regard as well.
Yeah, it's one of the only weapons that can actually, for the second UK, that can actually break a heavy mechanized blob. And outside of, I mean, Hell Arms can do that if there's no AA, etc., etc. But generally, the challengers are just, with the weak speed and weak guns, the challengers are going to be outmatched by the Leopard 2s, just because the Leopards are just tactically more useful and can actually survive getting hit. I mean, the Leopards have less armor, but the Leopards can retreat if they get hit. That is how they survive. And when it comes to one-to-one engagements, they're most likely going to go for Yukipaw unless these support units, such as the MLRS, are used efficiently.
Yeah, Hellam, LBH being pushed back there, the transport that gives you access to another free ATGM helicopter, basically. It's the weakest ATGM helicopter in the game, but it comes for free, basically, attached to the Milan 2s. You just pay the points, but you don't have to pay the activation card for it, so giving you a bit more access there. We have the MLRS re-aiming again onto the M110, and this time around it is going to fire, so the M110 will need to react quickly. It's not perfectly on target, the MLRS, so there is chance for the M110 to survive, But yeah, it needs to get out of there quickly. The rockets are flying, but it moves forward. Oh, that actually is the wrong direction. That's actually directly into the circle, and yeah, there it
Oh
goes.
no, the big boy, Big Bertha M110 A2G getting blown out by one of the first rockets here. That's a massive hit, massive win coming for Gnef here.
Yeah, aiming now for Leo 1A1s, knowing that the enemy can't counter battery you immediately there, so the MLRS can stay on position and can go for some more targets. Getting good damage against the Leos, now going to try to aim for the Gepard, and yeah, the MLRS here is a decent win condition here now. It starts to become a really scary unit quite quickly here. Saladin actually damaging the Gepard might allow the Gepard to live though, as it forces it to retreat out of the MLRS position. Tornado HEs coming around, that is a mistake. We have the Ihawks now on the battlefield, we have the Gepards here in decent numbers as well, so I don't believe those tornadoes will achieve much. Yeah, first one already going down, getting an infantry kill at least. A second tornado going low at least might survive, but doesn't get any kills, so in the end a pretty terrible trade there for sure. But the MLRS doing some decent jobs here, and the Challenger getting rid of a Leo as well, so trades for Gnef lately not that terrible.
Yeah, Gnef is kind of capable of punching out here, but I'm afraid that a single really good engagement for Yukipaw, single engagement when all of Yukipaw's vehicles, which are increasing in number, both the Martyrs and the Leopard ones, are going to be able to engage all at once, overwhelming the AT defense net, which is consisting of a limited amount of ATGMs and Milan ones. If this if this engagement can happen, if the supremacy of numbers can actually be managed here, even from these positions, that could and with the Lars already softening up the front, I think that is what we're gonna see here now. Another Ihawk getting deployed pretty closely up to the front, very smart. Second UK as well as second Panzer Grenadier has very strong air, but second UK likely relies on it way more.
Yeah, the 105mm are used cleverly as well, trying to counter battery and kill off the Ihawks that were spotted earlier, but quick reaction there from Yuki, keeping the one of them safe. The F4F here with a really big bomb drop. They have 5 of those 450 kilogram bombs, killing off a Challenger, and the AA network here of Gnef not good enough yet. Only one track trap here, needs more of those to kill off the enemy bombers. But more infantry rolls in onto the battlefield as well. Another Tornado Mehrzweckwaffe run here, only coming for the Milan 2 this time, but that's still an important pick off. Phantom trying to get the kill there, but the Tornado can defend itself decently and gets a hit onto the Phantom there with the short range AM9L and will get out without taking any damage. And that's starting to become an issue here, as Yukipaw is now on the push here in the south. MLRS got reloaded here for Gnef. Can fire again, but needs to find a stationary target again, and that won't be easy here right now, as everything on Yukipaw's side is starting to move out.
Yeah, and once again, for those who are new here, what Yukipaw preferably wants, if he can't get immediately into the town, is to form a concave formation. Take positions right up to the north of the town and right up to the down south of the town. We're seeing in south the infantry formation already moving down there, and I believe the Mehrzweckwaffe killing the Milan 2 was also part of this kind of map control effort here. When you have a concave formation, engaging units in the town becomes way easier, and you even get the chance to start threatening reinforcements. So you can even if not really, but you can practically start cutting off the town from the enemy. And that is with 25 minutes remaining, that is completely realistic, I believe. If the center of the town, if the muscles inside the town are too powerful, you don't want to break through to them, you want to surround them, mixing my metaphors here maybe.
105mm artillery trying to go around for the Milan 2 Challenger Mark II coming up once more in the rear. There is no other, just as I say that, actually a Leo 2A3 arriving. But yeah, against the Leo 1A1s, the Challengers do really well. Artillery still trying to kill off the Milan 2s on the side. Rover Milan being pushed back by the Milan 2 pushing forward. And what does the MLRS do? It hasn't found a new target yet. So still stationary in the rear. Milan 2's finally getting picked off by the 105mm. More infantry coming up. Another Milan 2 might be a prime target. That's Tractor Pierce pushing forward. Ooh, good kill against the Fuchs in the south by the Milan 1. The Milan 1s here of Gnef in the town. Doing a decent job. They always struggle with accuracy. Milan 1 not the most accurate AE piece in the game, but they consistently did some damage here. Well, we see more helicopters coming in. We see Rapier FSB1 coming in as well. The slightly longer range, slightly stronger Rapiers that have radar for it though, but I don't believe we will see any big seed play here out of Yukipaw. So it's a good anti-tank plane, anti-aircraft plane, anti-plane AA piece out there.
Anti-plane tank? No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the two Leopards, Leopard 2s and one Leopard 1 getting down, coming as reinforcements here from the southern route, and they're moving actually to the northeast part of the town, which reinforces my idea that the envelopment is gonna happen. There is in the middle of the two towns there is this field area, this flat area with very little cover, and Yukipaw already has Milan 2s and Jaegers there, as well as Ihawks and Gepards and Jaguars protecting it. So it's very safe to start maneuvering main battle tanks out there, because you can always just backpedal back into the defenses of the Jaguars and the Ihawks. And if the MBTs can start moving up there, that means that they're going to be challenged by Rover Milans and Gazelle rockets and nothing else really. That open area is not something that Gnef can currently hold, as Gnef has invested basically everything they had into holding this town from inside the town.
Yeah, Milan 2 now under fire by the rocket Gazelles. They tried to move forward, but Ihawks actually super far pushed up. Yeah, the Gepards getting an easy kill there as well. So that's an easy takeaway. Artillery trying to go for the Ihawk as well. We see the MLRS now being called in. Actually losing its fire there on the wrong target at the beginning, but now re-aiming on a new one. Ihawks being targeted there by the 105mm artillery pieces as well. If you can get rid of all the Ihawks, obviously airplay becomes viable again, but that's not gonna be easy. And yeah, Yukipaw also keeps those mobile the whole game here. Really good play there. MLRS retargeting against the Leo 283, but that keeps moving non-stop as well. So no easy kills here for the MLRS since its first victim, and that is really showing Yuki's prowess here, not being caught out at any single point here. He's constantly dodging the enemy artillery and not giving them any kills with those whatsoever.
Yeah, so now with 3 or 4 Leopard 2s up in the middle field, and these are getting followed up by more reinforcements who seem to be going down the kind of the uppermost road from the east to town. Yeah, I can already see this see this attack manifest here. The Jaeger on the southern part of the town, holding the position here, very important tactically, because that means that as long as nothing has taken this Jaeger out, that means that a reinforcement route and movement corridor is open for Yukipaw. This really is a kind of a position of strength for Yukipaw, but that doesn't mean that the game is over. If Gnef can start getting a couple of key kills, maybe some overextensions with the Leopard 2s, or maybe just bad infantry engagements against Gnef's artillery, I think Gnef could totally start pushing back this game. It's only 260 points in the lead, and second Panzer Grenadier units are not the heaviest in the game. but they do have a kind of a numerical and tactical advantage here, as we can see all of these Leopard 1s, as I predicted, all of the light vehicles firing at the same time, at the same positions, overwhelming these fortified infantry here.
Yeah, one Gepard being taken out. The Tornado HE trying to come in once more, but the Eyehawks all still alive, and that ends in disaster for the Tornado. Second one coming in, getting its bombs dropped, but Eyehawks, high chances here that they will get the kill as well. It actually is just down to the Gepards there. F4F on the other side, coming in on to the Challenger, gets the kill, as the AAE network on the other side not nearly as good. And that is a big kill here, as those Challengers are insanely hard to replace. And the Tornado Mehrzweckwaffe comes in with another great run here as well. Might go down on the way out too. Yes, it does, but it did enough damage here. I feel like that Yukipaw now should be able to push in here. Hellarm trying to hold, but there's so much AA here now against that as well. And yeah, the MLRS still waiting there, has aimed up, but the unit's not really in the circle where it's aiming to, so it needs to be careful. The Leo 2A3 is now trying to move forward with the Gepard. Leo 1A1 coming in as well. When is it time to lose that M270? Is there actually anything ever going into that circle? Like, those circles so far always have tried, like, they felt to be a bit too clever for my liking, the positions where Gnef put them. And this one is another one of those, like, putting it a bit too more into the open space, because the enemy might not expect it to be there. But that is also because nobody usually parks units just right there. So this is an issue. MLRS still not opening fire. We have a lot of artillery pieces here for Gnef, but that is about it when it comes to advantages right now, as infantry is nearly dead, tanks are all off the field, and this is going to be a problematic hold, at least, if not an impossible one.
Yeah, the 4 motorized airmobile reinforcements coming in, as well as a bunch of Terriers Pioneers, so infantry being lost in the town can and will be quickly replaced. But this is really the moment for Yukipaw to just try to get in there. The Yukipaw realizes what a position of power this is, how much damage the aircraft did, how much the artillery actually softened up the enemy. I think now that they see the Terrier Para jumping out of the cars, they might actually realize that this is a this is
oh, Mehrzweckwaffe coming in again. Mehrzweckwaffe deleting 3 more units
and
again.
Another one. Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, it gets killed off at least, so it won't be any more times around, but the game might not even go there anyway, as this is starting to look really grim here for now for Gnef. Those infantry units were supposed to hold the line until the reinforcements arrive, but the reinforcements are still a way out, and the units haven't arrived yet. And the red units are on top of the leader. Artillery pieces trying to go around. The MLRS re-aiming. This time it will fire. The units of the enemy are stationary there, so the Leos might go down, but the question is, can Gnef get any units here back into the town before it falls? And that will be hard to achieve. Leo 1A1 goes down. Leo 2A3 goes low. Might die here in the end. No, just a bit too quick getting out there alive. MLRS doesn't get stopped here this time around, just continuously firing, as micro is needed elsewhere, so it can't use the rest of its salvo elsewhere. And the units of Gnef here now getting pushed out. The motorized airmobiles, pretty strong squad, 9 hit points, Carl Gustav, 2 MGs, but it will still be a really heavy uphill battle here now, Mount Everest level off hill.
Yeah, the fact that there is not a single challenger on board here, the fact that there is no mechanized force here to counter the mechanized force of Yukipaw means that even when damage is done, Yukipaw can retreat and start moving around the troops, start moving around the pieces, and there is no mobility here with Gnef outside of the helicopters. And even with the helicopter reinforcements, they have to walk a couple of kilometers behind the fighting zone, just so that they don't get picked up by Gepards.
Yeah, track drop gears here, getting the Harrier GR3 killed off. We see more infantry coming in, and the Lynx is getting rid of one of the Leo 283s that got damaged earlier as well. So the tank formations get somewhat reduced, but there's zero forces in the zone left for Gnef, and a lot of his units on the outside that are important, like the Milan, like the track trapiers, are without protection, getting taken out now as well, and getting caught out in that open area where you never want to have to push over. That's why fighting for this town is so important, and especially you don't want to fight over it if back into it if you don't have any heavy tanks left, and that's exactly what seems to be the case here for Gnef, as it is only artillery and infantry, and that will have a tough time getting back in there, as the kill feed shows right now as well.
Yeah, Gnef, the motorized air mobiles trying to get into the town from another entry point, and a Jaguar taking out a full squad of infantry whilst they were still in the car, whilst the Fallschirmjägers engaging with the shock trait and immediately getting a massive bonus, and the artillery hitting in this preset position. This wasn't perfectly played from Yukipaw earlier, but right now no mistakes are being made.
Yeah, artillery still trying to do stuff here, but there's so many blue units dying here lately. We see a big blob of warriors with armored rifles trying to come in. The MLRS aiming for another Leo 283, but the units stay agile here non-stop. The CV went down, so it's not a full capture, but Yuki has a Leo 283 leader coming up. Airmobile Pioneers going down here in the south as well, and this is not a good situation for Gnef whatsoever.
This is very bad. In just a couple of moments, the points advantage will be with Yukipaw, and then Gnef will have to attack with a smaller force with less heavy vehicles, and that is something that historically hasn't happened that much, from what I understand. I think it's a pretty big problem attacking heavier enemy units with a smaller force. Especially when the command and the tactics of these forces seems to be pretty equivalent, considering we're in the 5th game.
175mm gun getting kill on the Milan too, but yeah, the artillery pieces here just not doing the job. Phantom gets killed off by the Eyehawks. Yuki even putting up the pressure up north now, as they have enough units sitting around to the south. Ooh, Fox actually just running up and killing an Eyehawk. Ballsy, but works out, and the Gnef trying to seemingly trying to throw a Hail Mary push up north now. Fox is trying to get ready. Jaguar 2 though is scary on the open field there. Fox able to outrun it for now, has to rotate a bit. Well, we have a big push of armored rifles and warriors that was set up a couple of minutes ago, now coming up. The MLRS reloading once more, but it actually used up the full Chinook, so would need another Chinook to get back up to 12 missiles. Whilst the northern situation, I don't believe a couple of Foxes will be enough here to break through. There's still a decent amount of infantry here for Yukipaw, and the BO 105 helicopters coming around everywhere as well. Double Gepard to just protect the rear from any shenanigans towards Papa. Just not want to risk it here. And this is looking really hot for our player in red, which means we're getting closer and closer to Yukipaw versus Berthax rematch, which would be exciting final.
Yeah, that would be like excellent Yukipaw versus Berthax, considering that Berthax, much like Yukipaw, has shown themselves to be a versatile player, and it's always very interesting to see what these people who have so many tournament games behind them and have such a good understanding of the meta and the divisions and the possibilities and the bans and the maps, and it's always interesting to see what they would figure out against each other. And especially now that the stakes are getting really high and they have a reason to be invested.
Yeah, F-16 here being pushed back. Rector Pierce doing a good job there on the ground. The +2 take for Yukipaw, now more than a 100-point advantage. There's no risk for Papa here. Like, Yuki just wants to be safe, but there's nothing there going that way. Even capturing Oscar wouldn't be enough, so Gnef needs to get a lot of points here, and that is just not possible with what is left on the ground. The dodging of artillery really well done after that early game was basically won by a single Mehrzweckwaffe. Fantastic usage there. That's always the scary part about using infantry concentrations against 2nd Panzergrenadier. It's the strongest anti-infantry tool in the game, and it's really showed itself there once more, and shows why 2nd Panzergrenadier still is a division that has a really high play rate. I believe it might be the highest picked division, or one of the highest picked divisions at least, in the tournament. More information about all of that next week in the Grand Finals. We're gonna go over all the stats for the league there as well, so be hyped for that. And yeah, let's see if Gnef can maybe bring a wonder back here, but it is all going Yuki's way here right now.
Yeah, I think the reason why the reason why 2nd Panzergrenadier and Mehrzweckwaffe work so well together is because both 2nd UK and 2nd PG, they both open up with large amounts of infantry units in forward deployment. And if you're playing outside of the league, in ranked, 1v1 ranked on medium to low level, it's pretty likely that somebody is going to challenge your opener with 4 or 5 Fallschirmjägers with a equivalent number of infantry. The first hit by will be a bunch of infantry to contest the area that you're pushing. So the immediate second play, if you're playing with the aggro Fallschirmjägers, is to get the Mehrzweckwaffe, and then that's it's a skill gap. You know, you have to know that when you're facing these divisions, that they can immediately, first minute afterwards, if they saved a couple of points, they can bring out this very destructive anti-infantry tools. And unless you learn that, you're just never gonna get up in ranks. It's a skill check basically for ranked.
Yeah, 105 millimeters here, still trying their best. Gnef obviously doesn't want to give up here in a game number 5 on the way to a grand finals, but 300 points behind by now. 6 minutes remaining. No offensive weapons whatsoever left on the battlefield. Outnumbered, most likely around 2-1 by now, and there is just no way here, especially not on a map like Two Lakes, where you can't really flank the enemy effectively. It's what makes this map somewhat grindy so often, and a bit frustrating. I'm really hoping we will see more 1v1 maps in the future, so that in the future season we might give this map a rest for a while and can take it out of the rank pool. But for now, it's a solid map. It's just that it is a really, really slow one, but really well played here by Yuki, and we have our grand finalist now officially. It's gonna be Yukipaw versus Burthex next week on Saturday, 3 p.m. CEST. So yeah, it's gonna be Yukipaw versus Burthex. Congratulations, a fantastic semifinal here between these two. Hard fought, but Gnef in the end not standing a chance here in the final game. GGVP to Yuki.
Yeah, it really does seem like the writers kind of played a trick on you. This was not the Gnef arc, this was actually the Yukipaw arc. Yukipaw managing to refight the game against Pro Komi, but instead of fighting Pro Komi, who was of course beaten by Gnef earlier, they beat the more aggressive, more infantry-focused interpretation of second infantry, and are spared having to face Pro Komi with their fire superiority, tank advantage, 2nd Infantry Division.
Yeah, so it's gonna be Gnef versus Mix90 in the 3rd place match, and yeah, Yukipaw versus Burthex. This game will happen next Saturday, as I said, 3 p.m. CEST, so start 2 hours later than today. So yeah, keep that in your calendars. Get all your friends, all your family with some popcorn, with some barbecue ready to watch this. And yeah, be there next Saturday, guys. If you have a date, tell her to come join watching some WARNO. If she doesn't come, she isn't the one. And yeah, be around there, guys. Really hyped for that one. Thanks for all the support once more, guys. This prize pool is already great. really looking forward if we maybe can push it a bit further. Once more, Metrino is the space for there. And yeah, we will also obviously cover more of the other divisions up to then as well. And yeah, really hyped for that grand final.
Yeah, me too. So just marking it down, it was Saturday the 3rd, right? Yeah, actually, I had already marked it down.
And yeah, Yukipaw versus Gnef. Gonna be was a really exciting one. Yukipaw versus Birthex actually gonna be a rematch of group stage, where our dark horse Birthex made the first surprise happen there with Birthex winning versus Yukipaw. That was the big upset there. Yuki facing elimination there, but being able to pull it through just barely into the playoffs. Now looking way hotter than back then, and it's gonna be really interesting because yeah, Birthex looking really hot as well. Those games versus Mix 90 and Icarus here in the playoffs, fantastic as well. Both players being really close locally to each other as well. When you look at the whole globe, like one player from down under, one player located in Vietnam. That's why we're gonna start a bit earlier than we usually would, as well with the grand finals, so that they don't have to play till 5 a.m. Maybe only till 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. And yeah, it's gonna be a really exciting one. Absolutely hyped for that. We're also gonna talk about the stats, as I talked about in the chat. As Reef has analyzed the replays from the SOTbot, and we have a lot of cool stats about the league coming up there. And I'm also gonna talk about upcoming events, getting a bit about the schedule, what is planned from here on out for SDL and WARNO. So yeah, see you all there. Really looking forward to it. Fantastic games here today. We're gonna be back with more soon.
Yeah, Gnef has been banished back to the ranked ladder and will return certainly at a later season after ambushing weary travelers on the road to learn how to do openers at rank 500.
Yeah, we even have female players in the league, Mr. Team Ted Archer. So yeah, take that. Girls don't play video games trope back to the 2000s where it belongs. And yeah, we gonna have a great final next week. Absolutely hyped for this. More semifinals and so on coming up the next couple of days. We're gonna end it here, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for all the follows. And yeah, let's see who we can rate here to finish this stream off.
Elpern actually just started out a stream half an hour ago and is apparently playing in a Men of War 2 tourney. So might
Let's
be a
see
good place.
what is going on there. So yeah, have a great day,
Yep.
everybody. See you back next time.
Bye-bye.